huge breaking news that really is a huge setback for AH and her shills as Camille Vasquez has landed a job with NBC News. That's right, the same NBC News that has been shilling for AH for months and going after JD and his team, and anyone that talks about this not only hired her, but get this, they got into a bidding war about picking her up with at least 3 other national news divisions. That tells you just how in demand JD and the people are that were surrounding it. Now, what's glorious about this is that Camille Vasquez, she was handed a loaded question right from go. She was asked something that, well, if she would have answered it a specific way, it would have been utilized to attack her, to attack JD, and anyone else online that talked about that case. Well, guess what? She knew how to answer this. She handled herself gloriously. You can hear the sounds now of all those internet fingers typing away. You and I, we're going to talk about this today too. Winning. Fun times, huh? Fun times indeed. All right, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day. By the way, I hope you are doing excellently. So this morning, you had the Today Show drop an absolute bombshell. Listen to this. I mean, it's so casual how this comes up, and yet this has such a big impact.
Moscow, thank you.
All right, let's welcome in our NBC News legal analyst, Camille Vasquez.
Now, you caught that right there. They're bringing her in, not as somebody that's going to speak on something. I mean, she and Ben Chu, they've done that quite a bit, but they're bringing her in as somebody that has been hired with the network. Now, before we look at the rest of that clip and that extremely loaded question Camille Vasquez is given, something that I thought was glorious about this is that the media, they were kept in the dark until this bombshell dropped. In fact, if you look at the date and timestamp on this here, this is from the Hollywood Reporter, you'll notice it came up today. It came up after this coverage went live. That means that the network knew how these media shills for AH, they would respond to this. They knew they would try to stop it. They would try to make a lot of noise, but they know at the end of the day who sells and who doesn't. It's a beautiful statement with no statement at all. I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, as far as Camille Vasquez's first outing is concerned, first, she's going to be asked about the case. Hey, what do you think about this? How strong is this case? And you can tell when the loaded question's going to come in. Check this out here.
Camille, good morning. Good to see you. So size up this case. We've got DNA evidence. There's a living person who was in the home who saw some things. How strong is the case against him?
I think it's extremely strong. And the police and the investigators are not in the business of telling us everything that they have. They want to put enough to get probable cause, to get a judge to sign that search warrant.
Yeah, we won't know perhaps until the preliminary hearing more evidence in the case. I find it interesting. Hoda and I were just talking about it. There were weeks and weeks where it seemed like there was nothing going on in the case. A lot of people were quite critical of the police department. Now we learn that perhaps they had been tracking this suspect since late November. Investigators have to make a decision at that point to keep things close to the vest. That helps with the investigation, I presume.
Now, right there is where they're going to start diverting this. You can tell exactly where this is going to go with the media trying to differentiate what they do. They spread a lot of mis and disinformation, but they always like to aim at quote-unquote internet sleuths. I mean, they love this stuff. Like I said, you can tell where this will go, and just watch how it slides that way.
Exactly right. I mean, this is a case that's garnered so much attention worldwide, really. And so I think these investigators do not want to make any mistakes. They do not want to give the suspect any reason to have the case not go the way they want it to.
Now, right here is where the loaded question comes up. I mean, you could see this thing coming where they're going to try to differentiate what they do from what people online do because they're journalists. And guess what? You're internet sleuths. That's right. You're just an internet detective. Who are you anyway? Look at how they propose this.
We've heard a lot about these internet sleuths. Everyone's trying to get in on the case and give their theories and in some cases name names. Do those kind of folks hurt a case, or can they occasionally help a case too?
Now, you see that right there. Again, that is a very loaded question because that answer is not just going to be used for this. It's going to be used to reflect back on JD versus AH. I mean, you can see it. If she answers this thing wrong, they're going to be using it. They're going to be using it time and again. I figured something like that would come up, and look at how she handles this.
I think they can do both, right? I mean, I think the internet sleuth, this has become something that really captivated the country, this case has. And so people want to talk about the evidence. They want to talk about the human impact. And these are college students, right? So I think it can be incredibly helpful for investigators. They pleaded to the public and asked for information about the white Elantra. But it could also be helpful, or not helpful, harmful when you start naming someone.
Now, Camille Vasquez does a great job answering this, by the way. And if you doubt that this is a loaded question, this is what the Hollywood Reporter wrote up in their article. Look at how it's worded. Appropriately. So they say that was appropriate. It needed to be asked. Camille Vasquez was asked about internet sleuths analyzing the Idaho case. One TikTok star is being sued by someone that they named as possibly being involved. And that's not what happened. Actually, the person said they were indeed involved. They named them. They put them in a conspiracy. It's crazy. I'm going to do a video on that. But they continue. It's a topic that Camille Vasquez knows well. With the JD versus AH trial dominating social media while it was happening, with seemingly thousands of ordinary people analyzing every bit of testimony each day. Now, the blowback to all of this is going to be glorious to watch too, because again, NBC has been a huge shill for AH. And when I say a huge shill, they didn't just go out and talk about, hey, you know that case, JD, or even the team. They went after anyone that supported JD whatsoever. I mean, they would do articles on fans, period. That's what they call them, fans, not supporters, fans. And they would talk about, oh, look at them on the internet. That's why you get questions like this. They doxed people. They put bullseyes on other people because of YouTube coverage and more. Yeah, it tells you the tide's turning. Those folks there, they might just have a problem, especially if the Today Show, they actually see any kind of rating boost from this. Oh, I can't wait to see the blowback. But anyway, let me know what you think about this. I thought it was amazing to see. Again, it shows you the winning continues. It shows you the uphill trajectory of one, downhill of another. But yeah, let me know what you think. And as always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Thank you. Want to help out the channel? Links are in the description. Going to leave it there. Thanking you again. Hope you're having a great 2023. Fun time stuff, isn't it?